Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is pretty specific, actually. We've got just one source, a unique set of personal notes, and they detail the search for a very particular bit of fitness gear. Think of these notes like a map. We're trying to extract not just, what the equipment is, but the surprising context around it, commercial, economic, personal stuff that makes this whole search relevant, like right now.
Exactly. Our goal for you today is really to unpack this story. It's about a product that's almost a contradiction, isn't it? Something heavy, but designed to be, well, lighter in impact and safer. We need to figure out what makes the design new, why the market seems ready for it right at the end of the year, and what's personally motivating someone to hunt this down.
Yeah, we're doing a deep dive into kettlebells.
Mhm.
But forget the usual heavy metal ones you might picture. We're looking really closely at the specifics of this silicone-based sand-filled design mentioned in the notes.
And what's really fascinating is how all those pieces, the design, the timing, the motivation, they seem to just click together perfectly around the date on these notes, which is mid-October 2025. So we're looking for those key insights, those nuggets that explain why this simple fitness tool suddenly becomes so important at this precise moment.
Okay, right, let's unpack this then. The first thing that really jumps out is just how different the construction is.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think kettlebell, you picture, a cannonball with a handle, right? Rugged, heavy, maybe even a bit intimidating. So what are these notes telling us when they describe one made of silicone and sand?
Well, it's a fundamental shift in materials, and that changes who might use it completely. The source is clear. The standard is full cast iron or cast steel construction. And those traditional materials, yeah, they're dense, they're rigid, but for someone working out at home, they bring headaches, don't they? Noise, risk of damaging floors or furniture, plus they can be costly to make and ship. This new design, this silicone base filled with sand, it just flips the script.
Right. And that material change, it tackles that sort of psychological hurdle for exercising at home. Cast iron is tough, sure, but it comes with that little background hum of anxiety, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
one bad rep and you've cracked a tile, or maybe stubbed a toe really badly, or woken everyone up.
That's the trade-off. You're maybe giving up some maximum weight density, but you're gaining stability and safety. It's a calculation based on, how people actually work out at home these days. And the source connects these materials, the silicone, the sand, directly to two big claims. It's more affordable and safer. The silicone gives you that cushioning, reduces noise, makes it more forgiving if you, say, set it down hard. But the sand filling, that's where the real structural innovation seems to be.
What's so special about the sand? I mean, beyond just being cheaper than iron.
Well, it's not just cheaper. It actually changes the whole kinetic feel of the exercise. Cast iron is solid, right? The mass is fixed. Sand, though, it's inherently fluid. It shifts. So when you swing or press a sand-filled kettlebell, the center of gravity isn't static. It's moving, recalculating sort of mid-rep.
That's a really interesting point about the training itself. So the lack of rigidity, it forces you to stabilize more dynamically, something you wouldn't get with solid metal.
Exactly. You're not just lifting the weight. You're actively controlling the internal momentum of that shifting sand.
Right. So for someone looking for consistency, like the notes mention, this dynamic thing might offer a different kind of challenge, maybe more engaging than just lifting a dead weight.
It could be. It likely forces you to recruit those smaller stabilizer muscles more, maybe promotes better body awareness, better form. And that kind of subtle innovation explains why someone would specifically hunt down this niche combination, Instead of just grabbing the cheapest iron bell online, it suggests they're prioritizing consistency, safety, maybe a quieter workout over just like lifting the absolute heaviest thing possible.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me, though. We've got the innovative design nailed down, but it's not just the what, it's the when. These notes, this search, it's happening on October 17th, 2025. So right at the start of Q4. Why this specific piece of equipment? Why now?
Yeah, the timing is key. And the source is actually pretty sharp on the market context here. It specifically mentions anticipating a surge of exercise equipment and promotions. Now, at first glance, you might think, oh, okay, people getting ready for New Year's resolutions early, but the notes suggest the real driver, it's financial.
So it's not the usual January, New Year, New Me thing, which is often more emotional. This is sounding more like a calculated money move, and the holiday shopping season is just like convenient cover.
Precisely. The surge isn't just random pre-holiday shopping. The notes link it directly to people wanting to maximize tax-deductible benefits. So suddenly the conversation shifts from just health goals to year-end financial planning. We're talking about people using up flexible spending account money, maybe health savings account funds before they expire or roll over poorly. Or, for small business owners, freelancers, maybe writing off equipment as a home office or wellness expense before the tax year closes out.
Okay, so the classic Q4 spending push, but seen through the lens of fitness gear. That really is an aha moment about how people buy things. It means big purchases, even for something pretty niche like this special kettlebell, might be driven more by tax deadlines than by like an immediate need that just popped up in October.
Absolutely. The value of this specific product in October, November, December, it actually gets boosted by the tax situation. It changes the motivation. Think about it. If you have money in an account that you have to spend by December 31st or lose it, suddenly an affordable, safe, durable piece of home equipment looks very, very rational financially. And the availability of this specific, relatively affordable type of kettlebell lines up perfectly with that financial window.
So the company making these isn't just selling fitness. They're kind of selling a tax-friendly solution to the problems of noise and safety with traditional weights. They're riding a wave driven by financial calendars.
Seems that way. They're meeting a need that's amplified by the fiscal year structure.
Okay, let's zoom back in from the big market cycles and tax codes. Why did this financial timing influence this specific person to look for this specific kettlebell? It can't only be about saving a few bucks on taxes, surely.
No, absolutely not. And the Nates give us insight into the personal drive, too. It seems twofold and pretty relatable. First, there's this intellectual curiosity. The author literally says they're driven mostly by curiosity about this new design. They sound like someone interested in finding better ways to do things, maybe an innovator themselves.
Okay, so curiosity is part one.
Uh-huh.
But what's the practical side?
The practical side is the big one, the core goal mentioned, trying to use this kettlebell to help develop a consistent exercise regimen in my daily life. That's the universal challenge, right? Finding that one thing, that right tool that finally helps turn good intentions into an actual sustainable habit.
And the notes really emphasize that finding this specific model wasn't easy. It says the author was thinking about getting one, but hadn't found a retailer selling this exact silicone-base, sand-filled type until recently. That detail really underlines that this isn't just any kettlebell. It's something niche, maybe newish to the market. It makes the search feel very deliberate.
Exactly. It's not an impulse buy off Amazon. It's a focused hunt for a particular solution. So the user seems to believe that this specific innovation, the mix of affordability, safety, and that dynamic core from the sand, might be the missing piece for their consistency puzzle. They're essentially betting on the design itself to help solve the personal habit problem.
That suggests a pretty thoughtful approach to fitness, doesn't it? Instead of just blinging willpower.
I think so. Often people try to force themselves into routines using traditional gear, and they fail, maybe because those underlying issues, fear of injury, noise bothering others, the initial cost. So this person seems to be thinking, maybe if I find the right tool, one that removes those friction points, that will be the trigger for long-term consistency. This affordable, safe, dynamically interesting design becomes the specific thing they believe will finally make the daily habit stick.
Wow. Okay, so let's try and tie this all together. We started with basically a sandbag and a rubbery shell. And somehow that led us through material science, Q4 market surges, tax deductions, and finally into the psychology of building habits. We've seen a very specific product innovation, these silicone and sand kettlebells, designed deliberately for affordability and safety. We see it being sought out at a very precise time, Q4 2025, which connects directly to financial incentives like tax deductions. And underpinning all of that market stuff is the deeply human goal of just trying to build a consistent exercise routine.
Yeah, the core takeaway for me is how closely even simple product innovation can track with market timing and, frankly, financial strategy. The design choices here, the materials, the feel, they seem almost perfectly tailored to fit into Q4 spending patterns, offering a safe, affordable, and financially justifiable solution to a really common behavioral challenge, sticking with exercise.
It's pretty fascinating how much you can unpack from just one short set of notes, seeing that intersection of like high finance and low impact exercise.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with a really interesting question, I think, for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. Given this link we've seen between Q4 promotions and tax deadlines, how many other purchases we make, maybe in October, November, December, things for fitness, hobbies, maybe even work, are actually driven more by those year-end financial pressures than by an immediate pressing need? How much of our end-of-year activity is really about optimizing finances rather than just fulfilling a desire we happen to have right then? Makes you think, doesn't it?